Hello, everyone. This is Talia Butler, a downtown development coordinator for the City of Bowling Green, and you are listening to TalkBGKY, the official podcast of the City of Bowling Green. And welcome. We are talking about the return of a beloved annual event, Duncan Hines Days. It is year 4. Can't believe it's already been that long, but this event every year is so welcomed by the community. A lot of folks are already starting to talk about it more so than ever. There's a buzz, there's chatter, there's over 20 events scheduled for the week of May 31st to June the 6th for Duncan Hines Days this year, and they're all over Bowling Green and Warren County. So there is truly something for everyone, all ages. Most of them are free and accessible to the public at no cost. And today we are talking about all of the wellness and recreation events associated with Duncan Hines Days. And I have got our dear friend, Mr. Cameron Levis, our recreation manager for the City of Bowling Green. Cameron, tell us a little bit about what you love to do with Parks and Rec and why Duncan Hines Days.
Oh, yeah. Well, obviously it's always a pleasure to jump on the podcast. I think between me and you, either you're hosting or I'm hosting episodes of this. So it's nice to sit on this side and let you kick it off. But no,
You're welcome. There
I love it. It's always great, just to get on here and talk with the community and share a little bit about, what we got going on in this wonderful city and county that we live in of Bowling Green. So from a Parks and Rec standpoint, I'll start there. Our mission with Parks and Recreation is to enhance quality of life. We want to make this community the best place to live, work, and then most importantly, play. And so for us, any time that we can just activate spaces in our community, such as those downtown, and just provide ways for people to come together, celebrate, in this case with Duncan Hines Days summer, and just celebrate all things food, music, and fun. It's just awesome for us to be able to be a part of creating these opportunities, dreaming them up, imagining what they could be. And going into our 4th year, I think, for Duncan Hines Days from the beginning, making sure that leisure and recreation and wellness and again, just opportunities for people to have fun, as part of this week-long celebration has just been a critical piece of it. And it's been neat to see it evolve over these 4 years. So we're always excited to kick off summer with Duncan Hines Days.
Yeah. Well, and for those of you all who may not be aware of why Duncan, real quick, before we get into the events, our dear, dear friend, Bowling Green native son, Duncan Hines, was a real gentleman, born here in 1880. And he became...
It's not just a name on a box.
It's not just a name on a box. He became kind of the first Google reviewer or TripAdvisor reviewer, in that he published the first set of travel guidebooks for you and your family to use when you planned your first ever family road trip. Because in Duncan's day, when he got his first car in his mid-30s, the car was brand new, and it was truly a modern marvel, and the old federal highways that we call old now were new, and they were the only way by car to get around the country. And Duncan's recommendations for places to eat and sleep and explore became the 4- and 5-star reviews of Google or Yelp today.
He's like the started. So all the people who sit there and take pictures of their food before they enjoy it, he was him, right?
That was him. And he also was very unique in that in his books, the opening was always, "Hey everybody, I'm Duncan. I live at this address in Bowling Green, Kentucky. I want you to write to me and tell me about your experiences at the places that I recommend, or tell me about a place that you discover that I don't have in my book because I want to go explore it." And he was very forthright and intentional, and a lot of his kind of standards paved the way for all the modern food and safety regulations on restaurants restaurants, attractions, hotels, and pretty much everything hospitality minded today. So thank you, Duncan, for
100%.
forcing us to be safe.
I know.
We love that.
That's right.
He is. And you can still
Awesome.
see his house. It is the Hardy and Son Funeral Home on Louisville Road. They still kept part of the home's kitchen intact. If you go visit the home, just ask Bill Hardy if you can see part of Duncan's old kitchen, and he'll take you back there to take a look at it too. At no cost, just a little fun fact about Duncan and his life here in Bowling Green. But one of the reasons why Parks and Rec kind of jumped onto this Duncan Hines Days idea all those years ago was because you all represent the adventure, the wellness, the recreation aspect of the legacy that Duncan represents, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if I can add to that too, I think from a philosophy perspective, for us as a department, I often, refer to special events as kind of like the front porch of Parks and Rec. Special events are the introduction to everything that we do for 365 days a year. So whether it's Duncan Hines Days, whether it's Harvest Festival, whether it's Downtown Lights Up, all these community-wide special events, or if it's things that we do, just within our department, like the Bunny Hop Trail or Trunk or Treats or Love Your Parks Day, volunteer initiatives, those are the one-time events where a family, an individual, comes, participates, they're introduced to us as Parks and Rec. And then what we hope happens is those are the people that become our consistent participants. And so they're introduced to us on this front porch, of these special events, but then they start participating in our leagues, in our summer camps, and our after school programs. And so special events are so critical for us as a department as part of our overall service delivery, not only because they enhance quality of life, but it's literally us as a department introducing ourselves to the community. So Duncan Hines Days is just another way for us to do that.
Duncan Hines Days would not be Duncan Hines Days without all of our parks and those spaces that we activate to jumpstart everything, truly. And this is a combined effort between city parks, county parks, Bike Walk Bowling Green, City County Planning Commission, Drake's Creek Canoe, just a ton of people.
Yeah.
Yes, this is not just a city thing. This is a community thing. And thank you to, Ryan and Leah over at County Parks for everything they do. Thank you to Andrea at County Stormwater for all you do. Thank you to our city stormwater people for all that you do. And thank you to Natasha and Carol over at Bike Walk Bowling Green, because they're hosting a bit more robust of events this year as well.
Just another example too. We're talking philosophy at the beginning of this podcast, but it's important to note anytime that we're on here, and I think almost every episode, related to Parks and Recreation speaks of this, but so much collaboration happens in this community that I don't know if people realize, and it's being talked about more and more. That is unique to our community. You go to other communities and I can promise you that the county and the city are at odds more than they are working at the same table. And so it's special for us as Bowling Green and Warren County, because everybody that Talia just mentioned that are in different governments, different organizations, when we sit at the same table, we're doing it because we're all on the same mission of providing these opportunities as part of things like Duncan Hines Days, Harvest Fest, Lights Up, to make sure that those events bring everybody in our community together, not just the 77,000 that live in the city, but the over 125,000 that live in the county. We want to make sure that everybody gets to enjoy these opportunities, and it really takes a team of people to plan them. So.
And for all of these agencies to collaborate and come together, that also means that all of their different volunteer groups and clubs and teams then become part of the conversation, not just as attendees for these events, but also as people who volunteer to help work it or volunteer to help set it up. And it just kind of becomes this domino effect in the community to where you've got this wonderful blend of government and agencies, but also private businesses, local attractions, local nonprofits, everyone really stepping in and getting excited about it. And Cameron, you teed me up perfectly for this because I was trying to decide how I was going to fit it in here. But one of the the key points this year for something that Bowling Green and Warren County together has been named a top 20 finalist for by the National Civic League is being an All-American city, like that actual title, and one of the themes of being an All-American city is the power of collaboration in community. And when the city and county jointly applied for this award, we used Duncan Hines Days as a civic engagement tool and community building tool to shape the quality of life here in Bowling Green. And it landed us a top 20, and cross your fingers, we'll get a top 10. But how special is it that an event that is community-wide like Duncan Hines Days led us to be a potential All-American city during the year America turns 250.
That's awesome.
You can't get more Americana than that.
No, and I can't think of a better example of that collaboration, something like Duncan Hines Days. So it makes our jobs easier, right?
It
I
does.
mean, honestly, instead of being
does.
at odds with people, and we're all just on the same mission of trying to just create opportunities to put smiles on people's faces. We want this to be a good place to be. And I think we're all kind of headed in the right direction on that. So that's amazing.
Well, and you also cannot get more Americana than the quintessential American road trip, right. like Duncan did and lived his life. And on our Duncan Hines Days brand new website, it got a total refresh. Part of the homepage is a quote from Duncan from his very first book. It was the opening, and he said, "When my wife and I got our first car, we wanted to see as much of America as we could." And there is nothing more Americana than that,
Sure.
So
that's awesome.
It all connects.
Absolutely.
It all connects.
Yeah.
And we actually have, speaking of new website, a brand new section on the event menu that is dedicated specifically to the wellness and recreation events. And internally, we've been calling it the Swellness events because, eat well, live swell, the Swellness events.
That's
As
right.
we were building this, that's what we were calling all of it.
That's awesome.
But that wellness and recreation page lists all of these. There's more than half a dozen rec events throughout the week. Cameron?
And we've even consolidated.
We have.
And
We consolidated, and there's still half a dozen.
Yeah.
But, some of these are ones hosted by like local attractions and things. More and more local nonprofits and attractions are hopping on board and doing things in their own way to celebrate Duncan, which is exactly what we want.
For sure.
Cameron, why don't you kind of kick us off with that first day, Sunday, May 31st?
I love it. Yeah. This is not a new event as part of Duncan Hines Days, but maybe, how would you say it, Talia? Newly delivered, I guess,
sure.
newly planned.
Yeah, it's a combination of two events that are awesome, and now one that's going to be even more awesome.
Yeah. No, yeah. So the Sunday kickoff on May 31st for Duncan Hines Days is a combination of other events that have taken place. If anybody listening, has been a part of Duncan Hines Days the first 3 years, you've probably been to one of the events that will take place as part of this new kickoff on May 31st. And so the kickoff is going to include the second year for something we did new last year, which was our kind of summer nostalgic Fountain Square block party, if you will, bringing people down to the heart of our community, Fountain Square Park, and just encouraging people to think summer, think nostalgia. I think we talked about it last year on the podcast, but Misha Ambrosia, local painter here in Bowling Green that just does fantastic work. I'm sure her stuff is other places, but I always see it in candle makers on the square. It's everywhere in that store. And one of her paintings that I love the most is of an old Concerts in the Park from decades ago. There's an older couple sitting on the park bench. There's a hot dog stand. There's kids playing in the grass. And that to me just absolutely symbolizes in such a beautiful way what we want our community to look like, what we want our parks to look like. And that has always kind of been inspiration for us as a planning group, as the recreation team for Duncan Hines Days, essentially to try to recreate that painting in Fountain Square Park. And so last year we were able to do that. Live music, food vendors, but like your classic food vendors. So lemonade, hot dogs, pretzels, cotton candy, nothing crazy that we were able to offer to the community. We had bubbles, we had chalk, we had hula hoops. I mean, it just truly was. I mean, think of like The Sandlot as the movie, and just when they run through that 4th of July celebration when they're leaving the pool after that debacle, and they're running through there knocking food down. It felt like that in Fountain Square. I mean, that's what we really wanted to recreate. And we had one of my favorite things that I think I've ever created during my career with the city, live Candyland game, where we incorporated the local businesses and basically made like a live action Candyland board around Fountain Square. So visiting all these businesses, playing Candyland, and then at the end you got to go to Meltdown and get a free candy topping on your ice cream. So just lots of fun creativity with that block party. So we're bringing that back, but we're enhancing it. So a lot of things that used to take place on the Thursday of Duncan Hines Days, the summer stroll and roll, Uncle Duncan's parade, the vintage car show, all of those things are going to now take part or be a part of this kickoff on May 31st. So we'll have the Fountain Square block party, we'll have the Uncle Duncan's summer stroll and roll parade, and we'll have the vintage car show throughout Fountain Square. So it's really just going to be a fun way, very classic summer celebration in downtown Bowling Green at Fountain Square Park, and something that I think we're really truly looking forward to.
And just Cameron gave like the full description of this thing. There is one other new thing that up until a couple of days ago I didn't realize was happening, but we got it added to it. So at the square, like Cameron said, we'll have the car show going on, all four sides. We'll have the summer stroll and roll parade. Those are at 2 and 2:30. Then at the fringe down by the parking structure, we will have a bike rodeo and Warren County Rec on the Run yard games and a couple of food trucks down there. And there will be a road closure of College Street from the block of the Fringe up to Fountain Square, where we will also have some more community partners lining College Street with free activities and more concessions and food trucks, because we wanted to give as many parking spaces to the vintage cars around the square as we could.
Yeah.
So the main party with live music and the stage and the Candyland game will be at Fountain Square. However, do not discount the Fringe that's got the bike rodeo, the Rec on the Run games, and food trucks and activities in between. So it will be a true like jam-packed day, and I cannot say anything without mentioning our partners at LA1. They are turning 100 this year. It is a special occasion for them. And even though for the past year... Kentucky Proud, right? Like last year, they donated some free sodas to several of our wellness and rec events throughout Duncan Hines Days. This year, they're giving more. They've also got mocktails and cocktails recipes that we've got featured on our Restaurant Week page. If you're interested in a drink that you could make using the Winchester Kentucky Proud L8, they've got a ton of fun flavors. I'm sure they have something special coming out just for the America 250 celebration as well. So between Duncan, like the actual event, their centennial, and America 250, L8's got a lot going on, but they're a great partner of ours to have.
That's awesome.
And we also will have a free trolley route happening during the downtown kickoff on that Sunday too. There will be 3 stops, a parking structure next to City Hall and around the Tidballs lot area, kind of those areas directly just off the square, but close enough. And on the trolley will be a Duncan Hines impersonator leading the way, telling Duncan stories for the loop. So you get your own little Duncan tour, but you also get hop on, hop off service. It's great if you don't want to make that walk from the parking structure to Fountain Square, but there's going to be a lot going on College Street. So we also encourage you to make that walk if you can, because there will be be stuff to do and stuff that you might miss.
And the parade, if I can add on this too, our goal with that parade is, I think so many of us on the planning team have talked about old 4th of July parades in neighborhoods that we've been a part of, where you decorate your bike and, you do all these theme things. And, we really hope that moving the parade and the vintage car show and everything to a Sunday afternoon gives more people the opportunity to be a part of this. That was a really strategic thing for us, is just taking it away from a work weekday and moving it to a Sunday. So what we want to see with that parade is all of our local, baseball teams, our youth baseball little league teams, and their jerseys and their hats, and all of our local groups and scout groups and whoever that wants to just walk in this parade and just help us come together as a community and celebrate everything classic, vintage, summer, everything Duncan Hines and everything that's just, wonderful about this country, right? As we celebrate America 250. And so I think this kickoff is just going to be a really cool way for us to enjoy our downtown areas. Again, the heart of our community. I say it often with Talia, because as downtown development coordinator, I never want her to forget the fact that the heart of our downtown is our parks.
Yes.
And so without our parks in downtown, our downtown would not be the same. And so activating those parks is our job, and providing really, 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 really fun ways for people to experience their community. So I think the kickoff is going to be awesome.
And I have been asked to say, calling all mascots who are interested, if your school or your church or any groups that are family friendly that you all are a part of have a mascot, we would love to have you all participate in that walking parade. It's at 2:30 that Sunday. The staging starts at 2:00, and it's a very short route, barely 2 blocks this year. We cut it a little bit to make it easier, because it could be one of those hot, humid summer days, and wearing a mascot costume can get super uncomfortable. But as a little moment of air-conditioned respite, the Go BG Transit folks are going to have one of their small buses at our staging area, specifically for the mascots to go in to get a little bit of AC in the outside. Yeah.
We're going to have to take care of them if they come out. Yeah.
Big Red will be out, and we've got some other local mascots that have already signed on. But if your group has a mascot, we would love to have you. Duncan Hines Days has a mascot. His name is Duckin. He is a large rubber duck that wears an apron, and he will be at the event. And I also believe Tommy the Turtle from City Stormwater has signed on to be part of it this year. But kudos to our friends at GoBG for allowing some AC in what's potentially going to be a really hot summer day.
He probably needs that more than anybody. He's like the celebrity mascot. So VIP setup. So we'll take care of our
we've got a whole lot more to talk about for rec events for the rest of the week. So let me just do another quick jump here. That Monday, June 1st, right after, Lost River Cave is hosting Dolly Days, which they're calling, it's like a butterfly day at the cave. They will have just released a new set of butterflies over Memorial Day. So there will be hundreds of butterflies in their butterfly habitat. There will be some educational moments where kids can learn more about bugs. Butterflies are the gateway bug because they're pretty and nobody doesn't like butterflies. And a lot of Dolly Parton's branding revolves around the butterfly. So if you're wondering too why Dolly, Duncan Hines and Dolly Parton have their own Southern baking mix line exclusive. And for this summer, a Dolly and Duncan red, white, and blue sugar cookie is being released for some cookie mix. And we believe that might be some of the mix that we will be receiving from the Duncan Hines brand. We get about 7,000 boxes every year to give away at these events. But Lost River Cave has their Dolly Days. That's a butterfly event. Should be a lot of fun, and it's just all day long at the cave. There is no admission to get to the butterfly habitat. Doesn't cost you anything. They'll also be selling from their Trailside Treats concession stand 2 Dunkin' flavored snow cones. I believe one is some kind of cupcake and another is some kind of muffin, but I can't remember the exact flavors. But they're snow cones and they're flavored around Dunkin' tastes. That's Monday, June the 1st. Cameron, do you want to tell them more about the pickleball event on Tuesday, June 2nd?
Sure, yeah. So Pickleball Palooza, it's been one of our main events that we've done as part of the first 3 years of Duncan Hines Days. And pickleball is the craze, right? I mean, everybody loves pickleball, whether you're young, old, whether you're first learning it or whether you've been playing for years, whether you're a tennis transplant or a racquetball transplant, whatever it may be. Pickleball is just one of the most popular sports in our country. So it has quintessentially become American. It's definitely moved its way out of the retirement villages of Florida, taken up every state over the last probably decade. And so with Pickleball Palooza, really the goal with this event that is most important to communicate to the public is every age, every ability, every skill level, right? There's introductory opportunities with the Palooza. There's opportunities for you to help others learn the sport. Come out and just show us your skills if you're an avid advanced pickleball player. And so it's been a well-attended event over the last few years. So we're excited to continue offering it to the community. There'll be some clinics as part of this, some drop shot style play with the sport. We are moving it this year. Last year it was at Roland Bland Park, right near downtown, but we're going to, again, in the spirit of collaboration, continue to move to different facilities so that we can highlight all the amazing parks and amenities that we have here in Bowling Green and Warren County. So it'll be out at Griffin Park at their pickleball courts. They're right next to the Aviation Museum on Three Springs Road. So definitely, again, all ages, all abilities, all skill levels. It's just a good time to come out and play some pickleball and just be a part of this fun event as we go through the week.
That event runs from 9 to 12 on that Tuesday, June the 2nd. And since Cameron mentioned the Aviation Heritage Museum, they are also having their Duncan-themed event that day as well, purposely to coincide with this. It's from 10 to 2. They will be giving away some Duncan-themed food items, and we'll have World War II swing music blaring, and all who play pickleball are invited to come inside for some air conditioning for a moment of respite and for indoor restrooms if they would like to get a little break from the heat. So that is Tuesday, June the 2nd. Also,
we may need to find a way, they always say that sodium is good, right, in the hydration.
Yes.
And you got your hamstrings cramping. So we might need to get some pickle sickles.
What a great idea!
I know, yeah, we might need to find a way to do that. So,
pickle sickles, I like that. And also on that same day, June the 2nd, in the evening, gathering, I should say, at 6:00 that night at Atomic Kitchen in downtown Bowling Green is the Ride and Dine event hosted by Bike Walk Bowling Green. You're going to start at Atomic Kitchen right next to the parking structure, do a ride that's for all ages in downtown, and then end back at Atomic Kitchen. And this 1980s themed restaurant is really, really cool. If you have not been to it, you are missing out. It's great burgers, chicken fingers, sandwiches, desserts, all named after popular 80s music, movies, pop culture, everything. And they're going to have a special Duncan Hines theme, something on the menu for you to try when you get done riding your bike. So that is Tuesday, June the 2nd at 6:00. Then that leads us to Wednesday. It's Water Park Day.
My favorite day. If you have not been to the Russell Sims Aquatic Center, I feel really sorry for you. But Russell Sims is, of course, our water park aquatic center here as part of Bowling Green Parks and Rec, located in Preston Miller Park off Tomlinson Way, off of Veterans. And so, yeah, we've been a part of Duncan Hines Days from the beginning as well because, again, what is more Americana than your classic summer day at the local pool? And so Russell Sims, we're going into our 27th season, here serving the community of Bowling Green. We're in the middle of a master plan, thinking about the future, thinking about the vision for the water park. And so it's an exciting time to be at Russell Sims, and even more so during Duncan Hines Week as our day at the water park. And so what that day includes is just, again, your classic day at the summer pool, right? So we've got concession specials that we'll do to be determined at this point, but we like to get creative with our menu during that day. So in the past, we've added corn dog nuggets, we've added ice cream, root beer floats, just different things that you think of when you think of summer. Last year we dumped like 1,000 rubber ducks down the slides. Our guy Jack over here making sure the audio is good to go on this podcast. I did a nice little POV video riding down the slide with the ducks. I don't know what that was like, Jack, but it looked like fun. So 1,000 rubber ducks shooting out into the pool. We'll find a way to do that again. We're going to try to work with our local police department. We've thought about doing a fun little activity the last few summers, and I think this might be the year to do it. With Duncan Hines Days, and do cannonball with a cop. And so a nice little classic cannonball competition. I can't think of anything more, man. Or maybe a belly flop competition. I mean, who knows? So we'll just have lots of fun at the water park. I do feel like I always have to tell this story because I think it's the funniest thing in the world. But 2 years ago, as part of Duncan Hines Days, the most Parks and Rec moment I've ever had in my career. And if you don't know what I'm talking about the sitcom Parks and Recreation. Leslie Knope, Ron Swanson, all these people, Chris Pratt, of course, just everybody in that show. And yes, the world of Parks and Recreation can be like that TV show sometimes. But WNKY went live with me as part of Duncan Hines Days 2 years ago with the slides in the background and a huge black cloud that was a thunderstorm, encouraging people to come to the water park. Of course, we ended up having to close because of weather. And so hopefully we don't have to do that this year. Everything at Russell Sims is weather dependent, but we hope for sunny days, good weather, and just lots of people enjoying Duncan Hines Days at the Russell Sims Aquatic Center.
Happy 27th anniversary.
Russell, the toucan. Such a great place. We in all honesty, summer for Parks and Recreation, I mean, that's our time to shine, right? That's when everybody enjoys the outdoors, comes to the park, and Russell Sims is such a critical piece of our service to the community. We welcome, over the last 2 years, close to 75,000 people on average come through our gates throughout the summer from Memorial Day to Labor Day, and every individual person within that 75,000, it's a labor of love. We try to meet them with a smile, provide them with the best aquatic experience that we can in this region. And when they leave, we hope they come back. And we just put a lot of intention and care into what we do with the water park. And so this day for Duncan Hines Days is just another piece of that we hope people come out to the water park and they see it for what it is and come back again. So
Cameron and his team do a great job too when it comes to creating themed experience or themed nights or days at the water park. If you have been there before but haven't been in a while, please go back and see what you've missed. There's been several changes at the water park and improvements, and there's all kinds of fun theme nights throughout the summer that are great for your family too. Let's see here. We've got Thursday. Wow, we're already at Thursday. Thursday, June the 4th. The only Duncan Hines specific thing going on that day is kind of a nod to the author and reading side of Duncan's world, because he was a published author and printed books for over 20 years, and it is the summer reading kickoff that is hosted by the Warren County Public Library and Warren County Parks together at Ephraim White Park. Well over 1,000 people attend this event every year. This is always huge for the whole community. The city has a ton of folks signed up to go from all different departments to represent and encourage more community engagement and involvement. We always love to support this event with our Warren County partners. And because Duncan himself was very aware of what it took to create a book, of course we're going to connect Duncan to the summer reading kickoff. Why not? I mean, the man was the first travel guidebook publisher. This is an achievement. So it's free and costs absolutely nothing to get out there. You can find more information about times for that summer reading event on the Warren County Public Library website and probably the Warren County Parks website as well. Moving on to that Friday, June the 5th, the main wellness event for that day is another one hosted by our friends at Bike Walk Bowling Green. They have a walking club that meets every Friday at noon at the Fountain on Fountain Square in downtown. They usually walk for about 30 minutes. It's very leisurely. This is not a fast walk or speed walk. It's just something to get you up and moving during your lunch break. So this event on June the 5th is the Cakewalk Club. It's like, hey, we want you to come burn some calories and move your body during lunch, but here we're going to give you some cake mix as well. You know, we got to keep it balanced out. You're going to get a case of baking mix when you go take your walk with the Cakewalk Club instead of the typical walking club. That is at noon on Friday, June the 5th. It costs nothing. So if you are out and about in downtown and need a break for your lunch, please go check out the Cakewalk Club on Friday at noon, June the 5th. Thank you, Bike Walk Bowling Green. And really, the last but not least is kind of it's the culminating event of recreation on Saturday, June the 6th. Cameron, tell us about the duck paddle.
Yeah, you know, again, this has been a staple event from the beginning for us, the Duncan Hines Days duck paddle race and regatta. And so this is taken on a couple different looks over the years, right? The first year that we did this event, we did it on Barron River. We started at, River Walk Park right now, soon to be Riverfront Park as it's going. And so went through that park as a start and then all the way to boat landing. I believe the next year, I think the second year got canceled because of rain, if I'm not mistaken.
Last year
is
the
got
one we
canceled
ended up
because
canceling.
of rain. Okay,
yes,
that's right.
Yes.
The second year we moved it out to Romanza Johnson, which was wonderful. So it was a Drake's Creek paddle from Johnson Park to Fillmore Park. Last year was supposed to be an even different route that I'm not as familiar with the waterways as our friends at Warren County Stormwater and even Warren County Parks and Rec. And then, of course,
Rain.
Tony Allison.
Yes, at Drake's Creek Canoe.
Is his last name, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Or you want me to go back in?
You just want to start.
I got it. I'm not as familiar with our waterways as our friends at Warren County Stormwater, Warren County Parks and Rec, and then, of course, Tony Allison from Drake's Creek Canoe that has been instrumental in helping us plan this event over the last 3 years. So, but there was a different route for last year, and then this year we're moving back to Romanza Johnson. I think that was a very popular location. It's a location that a lot of people are familiar with. That park specifically has received a lot of improvements over the last couple years, and so excited to be back out at Johnson Park. And then eventually, we'll also come back down to Riverfront Park as that development takes shape. And so this canoe and kayak paddle has just been instrumental for us with Duncan Hines Days. And so folks will be able to register for this event and be able to enjoy a day out on the water with their friends. You can compete. So it is a race at the end of the day. And we do have some paddlers that truly do go for a nice little time. But then we just have some leisurely, I won't call them strollers, but I guess paddlers down the water, down the creek. And so, again, just a really fun time for you to enjoy the outdoors, enjoy recreation here in our community, and again, just enjoy Duncan Hines Days for what it is.
And I need to point out some things because if I don't say them, Andrea from County Stormwater will be like, "Why didn't you say that, Talia? You know this." So I'm looking at the actual flyer here. So, a couple things to remember about this event. As Cameron said, you do actually have to register for this one. This is one of the few events during the week that does have a low cost. During the month of May, registration is $30. If you don't register until June, it goes up to $35. The idea is BYOB, like bring your own boat, haha. But there are rentals available for solo kayaks. That's $10 a boat, plus tandem kayaks and canoe rentals at $20 a boat. And that is Tony Allison and his crew at Drake's Creek Canoe. You get, as part of your registration, a shuttle service to make sure you can get back and forth to your vehicles from the parks. And there is a rain date for this year. If there is rain like there was last year, even if it's rain that's like leading up to the event, we are moving to...
But there won't be.
There won't. But June 13th, just the very next Saturday, 1 week later, is the rain date if we have to go that route. The actual race begins at 8 a.m. That's Saturday, June the 6th. And depending on how fast you paddle, we may be going to 11 or 12 or so. Our friends over at L8 are once again giving product for you to pick up at the finish line. Thank you, L8. And thank you also to BGMU and MedCenter Health for their specific sponsorships of this event. They understand the mission of the Rec and Wellness events, and we really appreciate it. And also, thank you to County Stormwater, City Stormwater, and our Warren County Fire Department, because they are the ones that will be sure that the creek is safe for all of our paddlers and racers along the way. And we expect, like, if this race sells out, about 100 or so is the capacity, and we have done that.
And
we did that.
It's steadily grown to where we are now.
So please
awesome
register now. Yeah, register now before all the spots are gone. You can find the registration link on Duncan Hines Days or on the Facebook event hosted by the Duncan Hines Days page for this. And you can find all of the information about every single Duncan Hines Days anything on DuncanHinesDays.com, or follow Duncan Hines Days on Facebook and Instagram. We have an X, but we have not been super active on it this year. I may just tell you Facebook and Instagram are the safest places to go. But also, just as another reminder to everyone, we have got a brand new Restaurant Week form celebrating all things local food and drink on the website. So for any of you all out there in the wellness world or the health community who have any kind of restaurant or bar or small shop or smoothie store, if you would like to be featured, please complete the restaurant form on DuncanHinesDays.com. It costs you nothing. It is totally free to be featured. All you have to do is give us who you are, how to reach you, your website, and a picture of what you would recommend to Duncan at your place, because it's all about highlighting the signature things that Duncan would have highlighted at any of our local spots. So, Cameron, is there anything that we are forgetting at the moment?
I sure hope not. It truly is just, all jokes aside, a week full of these activities and full of these opportunities for the community is a week that we love to be a part of. You know, even on the planning side, it's busy. There's lots going on, but there is no greater feeling, I think, for us than to see people enjoying the place that they live, and anything that we can do to make people love where they are and love where they live, love their community. That's why we are here, and we love, again, just leading up to Duncan Hines Days and everything we get to be a part of. It's certainly a fun week for sure.
When you said being a part of something, I saw something else. Emily Bronner will be upset with me if I don't say this. By the time this airs, there will be a brand new volunteer sign-up genius on the homepage of the Duncan Hines Days website. If you need beta hours or NHS hours, or if your company does volunteer things together or community service, we have plenty of opportunities throughout the week for you all. Everything from the Sunday event in downtown to the paddle event at Drake's Creek and the Eats and Beats Music Fest in downtown, and things throughout the week that are available. So we would love to have you. The more the merrier. If you are interested, there will be a Sign Up Genius link at the bottom of the homepage that says Volunteer Opportunities Help Bring This Community Celebration to Life. Just click the button and sign up, because we would love to have you on board for that as well. Yeah, and thank you all so much for listening. This has been the official TalkBGKY podcast for the City of Bowling Green. Thank you, Cameron, as always.
And always a pleasure.
This is Talia Butler, Downtown Development Coordinator, signing off. Have a great day.
We'll see you at the park.